Let's go back to the main camera. Good evening everyone, Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. Let's do some quick audio tests, make sure that everything is okay and we're not lagging as we usually do. Paul Mont says, blimey, those dodgy PSUs putting on a good show. Hopefully it's okay. Out of sync. Oh, it's doing that again. Why is it doing out of sync? I don't know why it does this. It always seems to want to do something. Where's my mouse? Control. Oh, there we go. Is the sound okay? Out of sync. Audio lag. Sorry, Mike. Don't know why it's doing this. Right, audio settings. Where are we? Video. Oh, great. Now it won't let me. Video output is currently active, so I can't change it. Why would it do that?
Calf in sync, haha.
Calf's in sync. Audio lag. Is there still definite lag? Mic in sync. Kung Fu movie. Why does it do that? This. I'm gonna have to stop the stream a second, and I'll start it again. Start streaming. That might work. Is that any better? Any better? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me know in the chat if it's still working. Nope. It's about 3 seconds out. Still out of sync. What is going on? Ugh. Blurry. Lag City. Start streaming. Hopefully that'll do it. Actually, did I change that to 30 then, or did I change that to 29.79? I'm not sure what I did then. How's it looking now? Is it any better? Please tell me it's a little bit better. Nope. Still out of sync, mate. Oh, shit. Why is it doing that? Still lag. Right. Why is that? Start streaming. See if that is any better. Worse. Worse and blurry. Sure is laggy tonight. Yeah, I'm having to stop the stream and start it again. So is this fix or flop? Yeah, I can't even fix my own stuff, let alone someone else's. Is it out of sync?
Yeah.
How much is it out? Is it?
Yeah.
Why would that be out? Very badly out. Right, how, why? I don't understand. Very badly out. I've only had this since I upgraded the version of OBS, and it's got, oh actually, no, I changed my, my capture card. So, can I change that? There used to be a way you could actually add a little bit of delay. Mic aux. Mic aux is definitely there. I'm confused, I really am. I don't know why it does this. Right, settings. No, they won't let me change it now because it's actually audio. Sample rate, yeah, that looks okay. Monitoring device, default, whatever. Video. So that's running at 29.97. That's running at 29.97. 3 seconds out.
It's getting better because it was 5 just then.
Oh, why me? I wonder if... No, it can't be. Oh, Pylo says it's okay now. Still lag now. Mike is having a bad night. It always seems to be the way. It must be the fog. Is it still out of sync, like massively?
Let me turn it off. Just restart it.
Yeah. Might have to refresh your screen.
That's probably what it is, isn't it?
Try refreshing your screens. It should be, it looks like, from what I can see on there, it does appear 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's getting the right things out. 2 to 3 seconds. Give me a ring. Someone's just discorded. Oh, my PC's off. That shouldn't even come through.
That's mine.
Oh, okay. Refresh my screen, still uber laggy. Right.
Watching, but you can't.
Let's have a look. See what's going on here. Right, let's change some settings on my camera. Where are we? Shouldn't be the camera, but we'll have a look. I can never even tell where it is on here. Silent mode, no.
It's a big lag, isn't it?
Right. Oh, 4K. Let's try full. That's right. That should be 30 frames per second. So let me try. Actually, it looks exactly the same. Settings. And we'll start trying it again. Is that actually working now?
No.
Is that even worse?
Biggest lag yet.
Oh God. Biggest lag yet. What is going on with my PC? Pete Lawrence says, I thought you were a tech genius. Well, in theory, 3 seconds delay. How can there be a 3 seconds delay? Worse. Skystalker says it's working now. Right, do a, can you refresh your browsers just to make sure? Because Skystalker says it's working now.
Maybe he can't lit rage in these.
Yeah. How about storyboards and music? Just carry on, it's pretty funny. I just don't understand why it's doing it. Out of sync. How can it be out of sync? Because the audio is coming through the same exact cable as big time lag. Okay. I honestly don't know what to do. Settings, output. Let's try that. I wonder if that'll do it. Let's check.
Barnes, that's fine now on Android.
Right. Welly Bob, unplug audio, restart audio. The audio is on the same channel as the camera. So if I turn the camera on and off, it's basically the same thing.
Did you turn the camera on and off?
I haven't turned the camera on and off.
Maybe. How long's it?
Let's go to intro. And is that any better now? Oh dear. Reboot router. Smash the router up. Restart camera. Turn it on off again. Okay, I'll turn the camera off, I'll try that. Mike's weekly tech issues. I know. I have, to be fair, I have swapped out the motherboard on that computer. Silence Is there silence now? I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, why? 3 seconds out. Audio, but big time lag. Still about 3 seconds out. I don't even understand how that can possibly even be a thing. Literally, the audio is coming through the exact same cable into... This is the capture device, and literally it's an HDMI cable, so the audio is going through exactly the same. So the only thing I can think is that the audio is behind the video. So the audio is being processed later. Why would that be? I have no idea. Right, let's move. Let's actually delete that, because I don't need microphone aux, do I? Delete, remove. So that should be properties, custom. Let's just stop and start again. Right, is that any better now? Oh no. Welly Bob says try the camera's own audio. This is the camera's own audio. This is literally through the camera. There's... Nope. Nope. Sorry, no mic. About a 5-6 second delay.
Watching my phone.
That has got to be a computer thing. Yeah, the audio's way behind, isn't it? How can the audio be that far behind? I don't know what's going on. I'm confused. Right, I might have to set fire to myself.
Reboot the thing.
Reboot what?
Computer, I suppose. That's what...
I will try and reboot the computer. I don't know if that... What's going on here? Microphone. Microphone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's all working. Filters. Have I got any filters on here? No, there's no effect filters. Advanced audio properties. So monitor off. Yeah, that's fine. Sync offset. Let's try sync offset. And the thing is, if I do a sync offset, then it's going to gradually get worse the other way round. I will try it. Right, now I've got a sync offset of 5 milliseconds, which I don't even understand why I would need, but...
Yeah, still.
Is that worse? Actually, no, it should be a plus, shouldn't it? Can I go into the future? Right, that's with a 10 milliseconds improvement. Try 5,000 milliseconds. Oh dear. Is it getting any better? I don't understand how it can do it. 2 seconds roughly. Is it getting any better? I think I need to do something with my computer. Okay. How can it possibly be that wrong? I don't get it at all. I'm completely confused. Configure crossbar. It won't let me do anything. Custom. So 30 FPS. Buffering. Auto detect, I suppose. Capture audio only. Use custom audio device, which is the HDMI. Stop. Is it any better? Keep facing the wall and it doesn't notice. time to upgrade to Intel. You're probably not far wrong there. How can that possibly not be working? Nope. 3 to 4 seconds out. I'm really, really confused. Like, really confused. Right, I'm gonna... If I reset the PC, is that gonna still let me carry on streaming though? Don't know if it will or not. I will try it and see what happens. Mike
well,
is...
I'm on here, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they all stay on this one for 9, and then if we have to do a new stream, I'll say.
Mike's out of sync, lol. I know, it's even worse. I'm completely confused. How about a different HDMI cable from the capture card to the PC? Well, it's not HDMI, it's USB Type-C that goes from the capture card into the PC. So that is... Yeah. I'm really confused. Is it still awful? Reset fixes all. USB drivers, power mode for USB. But that's the thing, it shouldn't affect, because the microphone and the video is going into the Elgato, and then the Elgato is going into the PC as one linked thing. So it's not really a cable thing. Ben Hill says, note working fine again now. Is it working fine? I have no idea. William Bodie says, what did you change since last week? I changed the motherboard. Like, I'm not gonna... yeah, I'm not gonna sort the motherboard back out. In theory, it is... 3 seconds. Right, I'm going to plug into a different USB port and see if that makes any difference at all. It might do. Potentially it could do. I hate USB. And I hate capture cards as well. I don't know. Is this working? I'm losing the will to live. I think it must have been OBS actually. Hello! Remember me? I used to be on YouTube with a tech channel doing all kinds of stupid stuff and
Have you
streaming
changed that
badly.
for setting back? Because it seems to be okay now.
Is it? Much better, fixed.
But have you
Works.
changed that other thing back? Because if it's going to lose sync.
I've changed that bit back,
Okay.
yeah. Right, so it was OBS. OBS was being an absolute prick. I hate OBS. I might never use it again. Unless something else comes back and is actually cheap. Better by loads. All in sync, working here. Good. Right, I think what it was is there was an update, like a hot fix to OBS, and I applied it today and then opened OBS directly. So possibly there were two kind of instances of OBS running at the same time. There seemed to be 4 threads when normally it's kind of 2. So I think maybe that was what it was. David Underhill says OBS equals old bullshit. Yes.
Right, say hello to everyone after all that.
Hi.
Stop.
Wow. Hello everybody. I'm busting for a piss now. I think that's what it is. I should have had it then. Unbelievably. All the hassle I went through today to try and set this stream up in time and make it all work. And early. Actually started early. And it went absolutely shit shape straight away. Unbelievable. But
Sorry.
yes, my apologies. Actually, does this work? Is that working? Yes, a letter. Good, good, good. Go and siphon the python. Mike will wait while you go for a wee. Major contribution to road safety. Yeah, I'm busting and you lot are all taking the piss. Right, I am... William says, did you use OBS last week? I did use OBS last week, but it's a different version. So they've gone from version 2.80 to 2.81, which was the update today. So how to fix audio sync in OBS. Yeah, basically close it and open it up again. Right, I'll tell you what. I'm never going to get through this unless I have a quick wee. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you back the firework display. It is November the 5th. Traditionally in the United Kingdom on November the 5th, we would generally set fire, or at least attempt to set fire, to the House of Parliament and the evil bastards within. So with that in mind, let's give you a little bit of what that may look like. Okay, there we go. Back to business after doing my business. Sorry, I do apologise. I am rather crude at times. Big shout out to the super chats we've had in already from Ugly Bob. Thank you very much. And also a new member, Old Man Withers. Thank you so much for helping us in our times of need. Where is... Oh, some of the chat is gone. Oh, that's because I'm in top chat now, aren't I, rather than live chat. Right, where are we? Yeah, I've lost part of the chat. Is it working? Yeah, Sky says it works, okay. I'm happy with that. So yes, good evening to you all. We will try tonight to have a discussion. I'm actually genuinely interested to see what you lot think, because it is going to kind of almost, it won't dictate, but it will certainly shape the way forward in terms of what we do here for unboxing and stuff. We do get offered all sorts of things and all sorts of products from various manufacturers. There has been occasions where I've been offered very high-end graphics cards and very high-end motherboards and stuff like that from manufacturers to review, and I've actually turned them down. Mostly for the reason, well, two reasons. One is which I hate benchmarking. I think benchmarking is such a waste of time, I feel personally. Realistically, and you can get a kind of rough idea of how well something is going to perform judging by where it is in the product stack and how much it costs. Now, the intricate differences between one graphics card and maybe another graphics card. Is it not working now?
It's about 0.5 seconds out.
0.5 seconds out. I haven't changed anything. I'm not breaking anything. Anyway, to me, benchmarking is a real pain in the backside, and literally the fractional differences that you can get, like the top of the range graphics card might be, what, 20% better than the next one before it. 20%, when you're looking at super high frame rates, isn't a lot. And it's the sort of thing that unless someone physically says, here are the benchmarks, here's the results, these are the appropriate graphs to prove that this one is faster than the other. We've seen it before thousands of times on places like Linus Tech Tips and other channels where they've basically got a couple of their employees all together and they played games, and then they've had to guess which one is like the fastest SSD, which one's the best graphics card, which one's got DLSS on, which one's running RTX, and more times than not they have not got a fucking clue. So when it comes to the super high-end stuff, benchmarking it for me is kind of like, it's pointless. Because if you put me in front of it, if you change the resolution, I'd have no idea whatsoever. So that is the reason why I personally don't get involved in that sort of stuff. Kudos to the people that do. Hardware Unboxed, obviously, they do an absolutely spanking job of doing benchmarking. And to be honest with you, they do such a good job, there's no point me even putting my toes in the arena. Yeah, I can give you a couple of graphs here and there just to say, well, this is my findings, blah, blah, blah. But if you want the real nitty-gritty of that sort of benchmark stuff, Hardware Unboxed, Gamers Nexus, obviously, and when Linus Tech Tips, the studios or their labs come online, then maybe we'll see some stuff from them as well. There's obviously going to be loads of other YouTubers that do it, so yeah, that's another reason why it's kind of like, well, there isn't any point for it. The next part is the price. Now, going back to what I've just said, is the fact that if you gave me a PC, one with a 4090, one with a 4080, and two joysticks, and I swapped between the two, I'm almost 100% sure that I would not have a clue which PC had the 4080 and which had the 4090. Much like when I'm here working away, I don't really notice the difference between a 2060 Super or my 3060. Because the games run kind of within what they would normally be. They feel the same. It's only the fact that maybe in Fortnite I'll look up at the frame counter and go, oh, yeah, this is getting roughly about 20 frames per second more. It doesn't feel much better, it doesn't look any better, and for all intents and purposes, it's the same game running at the same settings. So, yeah, there is that to it. What is going on now, Kath? Is it broken again? That'll be fireworks then.
It's okay, Poppy.
I can't tell. Is it out of sync again?
You can't see them. Let me just go show you them.
Audio video is a little out of sync. God. I don't know why it does it. Why is it doing it? It must be this computer. It says the CPU is running at 0.01%. So it's all running off my graphics card. Let me have a look. I will put it onto the lowest possible settings and see if that changes anything. I don't think it will do. I know, faster, lower quality. Let's do slowest, best quality. See if that breaks things. That might break things. Anyway, see what it's like. Willie Bob says not far off. Stuart Cleese says it's good enough. Lucky Man says 1 second out. I honestly don't know what to say. I really don't. It's very frustrating. Anyway, Trojan says the delay to Australia is higher than the sync difference. Fair enough. Oh, that's right. Leave it, Mike. It's pretty close now. It's good enough for the rats watching. Fair enough.
Sort it out, Pop. Sort it out.
Don't press escape. And just don't press anything. Let's get the mouse over there so you can't press anything. Anyway, so hopefully you get the general idea. I'm waffling on now, but yeah. I find personally that there becomes a certain point where you kind of get price performance, and it's a pretty kind of linear graph, to more or less. So it starts off at the 0 point, and it goes up, and it follows like a really kind of quite straight trajectory. So pounds one side, performance on the other, and it's kind of 50-50, depending on what you spend. But you get to a point where all of a sudden it takes an absolute curve upward if you're spending loads of money, or possibly a downward if you're kind of looking for value for money. And for me, I don't see any point in it. I was actually having a conversation about this. If I'd won the Euro lottery, which potentially I might have done because I haven't checked my ticket yet, so I may actually be about £140 million richer than I currently am, which would make me, yeah, about £140 million richer than I already am, which is awesome. Even if I had that sort of money, I think I would still struggle in my mind to go out and buy an RTX 4090 just for the shits and giggles. Now, I guess there's going to be some of you in the chat here who are more than happy to spend a lot of money on your stuff. And for you, rather than seeing it as maybe a tool, you see it as almost like a project. So your PC is your kind of project. And if you get a little bit of spare income, you're like, right, I don't need it, but what the hell? I'm just going to put this whacking great processor in. I'm going to put this huge graphics card in, or I'm going to upgrade it because I've got a few quid, or it's the end of the tax year and I've got to spend some money. There's all kinds of reasons why people do it. Don't get me wrong. If that's the reason you do it, absolutely great. Love it. And to be honest with you, when it comes out that, well, normally I do my tax return quite early. So towards the end of February, I'll be looking at our tax return and thinking, I really should spend some money just to make it worthwhile doing. Because that's how it works if you're self-employed. You look at your tax return, the more you spend or the more outgoings you have, you can deduct that out of your total figure, which you submit to the government. It's like a fiddle, I'll be honest with you. It really is kind of like a fiddle. So if you think to yourself, right, I've earned £20,000, for instance, you could then say, well, I've actually spent roughly 10,000, so I have to pay tax on the remaining 10. So if you spend another £2,000 on a graphics card, then you only have to pay the tax on the £8,000. So the graphics card, you get kind of about 30% off the price because that's what you would have paid in tax. It kind of doesn't really work like that. You're still spending the money. You've still got to physically get money out of your bank account and buy it stuff. But it just means that you don't have to give the tax man the 30% profit on, the 30% tax you would have made on the profits. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So yeah, potentially when it comes to February, I'll be looking at it thinking, well, I'm getting towards maybe a certain tax threshold. Here in the UK, we've got various tax thresholds at about 12,500, and then it jumps up again to something else. It'll probably change by the time we get there anyway, but potentially if you're kind of getting near a certain threshold, sometimes it actually makes sense to spend a lot of money if you've got it available, and then say, well, that's coming off of my profits at the end of the year, so I don't pay tax on it. So you get effectively 30% off, which is awesome. Graham's putting us £2.50 super chat and says, buy a lottery ticket and win those millions. We did actually buy some lottery tickets, but thank you very much for your donation. I'll buy some more next week if it rolls over. Funny Bob says, I paid £3 for 6 pairs of nice socks at Primark earlier. That sounds like my kind of deal. So anyway, back to what I was blathering on about. So yes, the RTX 4090 is a monster of a graphics card. And I think, like in some of the reviews, a lot of people have said the same thing. If you're using your GPU as a work tool, so if you're a video editor, programmer possibly, graphic designer, all those kinds of things. Maybe you're creating some kind of design things and you've got like 3D Studio Works or something, then the render times is basically times where you could be doing something else. So a faster graphics card, if it plows through the work and you can get more work done, that's more income, so effectively the graphics card pays for itself. And in those instances, 100%, I am totally with you. But if it comes to just the fact that you want to play your games in 4K on a 32-inch screen and you want to have anti-aliasing cranked all the way to the max, all the settings, all the eye candy set to ultra, again, fair play to you. I honestly have not got the eyesight for it. Maybe those of you in the chat that, or watching the video that are slightly younger and you've got somewhere around 20/20 vision, knock yourselves out. If you can afford it and you can actually see the results on the screen, awesome, absolutely do go for it. Speaking as a slightly older person with eyesight which isn't 20/20 and probably loses a couple of percent every couple of years, again, it comes down to kind of you're spending a lot of money for something which you don't actually physically see the benefits, not just in a grammatic way, but actually in a physical way. Like at the moment, I've actually got Welly Bob's 32-inch ultra-wide monitor or 34-inch ultra-wide monitor currently in front of me, and I've had to crank up the what's it called, the scaling for Windows to 150%, because otherwise I cannot see it. Well, I can, but it's just like really squinting at it. So there comes to a point where even if a graphics card can do super awesome things with graphics and you can see the gnats on, I don't know, some character's head in the game, I can't, and I probably don't want to be fair. I'd rather just enjoy the game for what it is and save a little bit of money. But then I don't have Euro Millions lottery winnings, so that's the way it is. Sorry, Kath is gesturing to me with a cup. So
not in a rude way.
I'll finish this one and I'll have another. Thank you. Paul Lamont says my eyesight is like old Ducham's oil, 2050 at the moment. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't even know how it works. I know 2020 is obviously a good thing, but does it mean if you get a higher number it's worse or a lower number it's worse? I have no idea. Matthew Day says if you have time to admire the graphics, you're probably not enjoying the game. Yeah, and I think for a lot of competitive games, such as your CSGOs, your Rainbow Six, Fortnite possibly, those types of games which are fast moving, realistically, if you are playing competitively, competitive gaming, normally you turn down all the eye candy. All you want is pure frames per second. And another point of that, actually, I've had this a couple of times in the Discord recently. If you haven't joined our Discord, you're more than welcome to do so. There's been a lot of people who have been saying that they're getting lagging, stuttering, kind of juddery, almost elastic band effect in games. And we've probably all seen it before if you played online games. You run into a room or you're driving somewhere, then all of a sudden you kind of seem like you've reversed a little bit and you've gone forward, or your position isn't quite the same. I actually find this quite often with playing Wreckfest. If you play Wreckfest on certain servers, if your ping isn't very good, then quite often you'll get that kind of rubber banding. So you move around a little bit, and if you need really ultimate, really good control, where every little kind of maneuver helps or means the difference between you making a corner or not, then it's a really bad thing. And actually having your graphics card or your game engine set to some ridiculously high frame rate actually will generally incur lag and stutter, purely because some of the servers they're not really built to handle that kind of input. Certain levels, obviously, it's going to be fine. But if you're putting 240 frames per second into a server, and there's other gamers that are on various mixed formats, maybe they're on an older system and they're struggling to get the kind of console experience at 30 frames per second, you've got others 60, 100 frames per second. If you're bombarding that server with all that information of all your frames per movement, or per second, or per whatever you want to measure it as, the server is going to have a really hard time. And generally what it will do is it will reject a whole bunch of your data or inputs, or it will create lag and jitter, which makes it a really crappy experience. So you're actually, potentially, you could be spending a lot of your hard-earned money to actually get worse performance online. And it is something which definitely happens. It's not the norm, it does happen, but it's not like everyone's going to get it or no one's going to get it. It depends what it is, what game it is, what servers you're joining. If you're joining a server in another continent, obviously you've got your millisecond lag rates and all that kind of stuff. And it's all going to have a knock-on effect. So just because you're spending £1,600, £2,000 on a graphics card isn't necessarily a guarantee that you're going to get great performance online, which some of you probably already realise. So yes, that is that's kind of where I'm at with it. So I want to take a look at some of the settings and some of the performance and the specs that we're getting for graphics cards at the moment. Now, hopefully, most of you have already watched the NVIDIA RTX 4090 launch. Yeah, I don't know. What can you say? What can you say? Actually, while I'm on this subject and I'm thinking about it, what's your thoughts on DLSS and FSR, all those types of technologies? I find personally that it's making it actually even harder now to differentiate between segments in the market. Because if you buy a lower end graphics card, say for instance you buy a 4080, because you can't afford a 4090 because you're a human being. If you enable FSR, DLSS, if your game supports it, or just go into your simple frame scaling, your screen scaling options, all it's going to take is for you to knock your screen resolution down from maybe 100% down to maybe 90%, maybe 85%, and you'll be getting pretty much exactly the same results as you would if you bought the next tier card up. So it's not really now that we have to spend the money to get that kind of performance. So if you think of it from another aspect really, if you've got something like a 2060 Super, you go into Fortnite and you turn on DLSS and you turn it on to Ultra, so it's kind of the best possible frame rate but the lowest possible quality. Again, if you haven't got 20/20 vision, there's a strong chance that you may not notice the difference between a 2060 Super with Ultra DLSS on and maybe a, I don't know, 3070, 3080, 3090, maybe even some of those other cards in the 40 series when they come out. So the technology exists to make a game faster than what it should be by using frame interpolation or frame kind of AI sampling, which actually I feel makes it even harder, and is another reason why I don't like doing benchmarks. Because all it takes is for someone to run a game and DLSS to be accidentally on or at a different setting. There's so many options. Like if you go into a game menu from, I don't know, 10 years ago, that's all it'll take, 10 years. You go into a game menu, it's pretty straightforward. You've probably got your brightness, you've got your gamma, you've got your resolution, you've got your anti-aliasing and all that kind of stuff. The rest of it is, that's kind of it. Hit apply. If it's not fast enough, you just knock it down to 720p or 900p or whatever, just to increase your frame rate if you need to. Whereas now, there's so many variables and so many different kind of cheat modes almost to make your graphics card appear better than what it actually is. And it's just, yeah, it really is compounding my issue that you don't need to spend that amount of money, especially now those technologies are getting better and better. Obviously, Intel have just joined the ring and they've got their XESS. You've got FSR from AMD. They've also got a new technology coming out as well. DLSS is being upgraded. So yeah, it's a massive, massive confusion zone for me. It really is. And actually this week I did something which I didn't think I was going to do. Now I've been waiting for a lot of these reviews and the announcements to come out. I wasn't entirely convinced that AMD were going to come out with the goods anyway. I don't think there's going to be a moderate level graphics card out possibly this year. It might come out after CES in early January. That's a possibility. But for a kind of a 50 or 60 or 70 grade card, or a 500, 600, 700 range card for AMD, it's a long way off. So I actually bought another RTX 3060 Ti. I really love that card. I think in terms of value for money, it ticks a lot of boxes. And again, if I want to play in 4K on my little screen there, all I need to do is go into DLSS or the frame scaling and just adjust the slider. And it will do what I need it to do. I can play those games at 4K if I want to. Or I can play them at 1440p and get an increase in speed. The 3060 Ti at the moment is on the market from Nvidia, which I hate to do. I don't like to give them money, but in terms of value for money, it's either that or the 6700, 6700 XT, which are still kind of £400-ish. And arguably, although not today, generally Nvidia does it better when it comes to things like streaming with your NVENC encoding, all that kind of stuff. And actually, I've done some screen recording this week using Nvidia's built-in screen recording technology. I'm actually really impressed how well it actually does. Anyway, I'm getting off topic there, so yeah, I am now the proud owner of two RTX 3060 Ti's, one of which is in my streaming computer and one of which is my video editing computer. And I think they do really good, and I don't think I need to spend more. It was a point where I was thinking, should I just go for a 3070, spend the extra £100? But then I was looking at the benchmarks and thinking, well, I don't really need to. I genuinely don't. There's nothing that I do which requires more horsepower than my 3060 Ti is going to give me. It's a good price, it runs quiet, doesn't use an absolute metric shit ton of energy, maximum about 200 watts under full load. That's absolutely fine for me. I don't need to change my graphics, I don't need to change my power supply. I can just pull it in. It's a plug-in exchange, which I like a lot. Anyway, I've waffled on for way too long. Let's take a look and see what some of you lot are thinking, because I'm sure some of you are thinking, even though it is a Saturday night and Bob's probably absolutely wankered at the moment. Excuse my language, but I think that probably is where he's at right now. Actually, saying that, there is a poll. So if you haven't done it already, if you're on mobile, you might find it a little bit more difficult to access. But there is a poll at the top of the screen. And the question for the day is high-end performance or mid-range cost savings? Now, clearly you know which side of the fence I'm on. I'm high-end all the way. No, I'm only joking. At the moment, it seems that there is, well, it is moving a bit, so some of you must be voting at the moment. If you haven't voted already, chuck a vote in. It all helps, but I think it's going to be a very, very difficult thing for the high-end camp to actually overtake. So we've got roughly about a quarter of you, 26% at the moment, saying high-end all the way. And then you've got 74% of you, which are currently saying mid-low range for the savings. Now, I should have added in there really possibly, Poppy, stop it! Stop moving the mouse, god damn it! Urgh. I kill you! Ugh. Angry cat. It should jump on my head in a minute, claws first. Yes, I should have added in there price to performance. Although I would say arguably kind of mid-low range is going to be your price to performance king. It's unlikely that you're going to go for a high-end system or a high-end graphics card or a high-end processor and it's going to be value for money at the same time. Because if it was, it wouldn't be in the high-end, it would be in the middle cloud section. Having said that, it does appear that the new Radeon graphics cards, which actually we should take a look at. I can actually find my mouse. Control twice. Oh, it must be over there. There we go. For those of you who haven't tried it, the new Power Toys from Microsoft that you can get from GitHub is awesome. I've installed it today on this computer. Don't think that had anything to do with the problems we were having earlier. But actually, yeah, the new version of Power Toys got some really cool little features in, and one of which is pressing Control twice to find your mouse, which is good because if you've got a tiny little mouse on a high DPI screen, you can find it and it just looks awesome. I just keep on doing it. It's great. Look, a big circle comes around and it goes pew. But it doesn't move or go away until you've actually found it and start moving your mouse. Then it disappears. It's bloody great. Love it. Anyway. I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes. I really don't. Right. Let's see if I can actually show you this on... Nope. That's not worked well. Oh. I'm in the corner. That's me in the corner. Window capture. There we go. YouTube live streaming. There we go. Boom. Yay, technology. What a wonderful thing.
They were watching Poppy. They don't want to see that.
I'm sorry. You want to see Poppy licking her butt? Right, RTX 4090. What an absolute monster. And the starting price is a modest £1,699, which is freaking ridiculous, if you ask me. Absolutely ridiculous. Stuart Clear says we can't see Poppy. I'm sorry. Anyway, so 4090 beyond fast, 1,700 quid for a graphics card. Now clearly it's ahead of its time and ahead of the game with 2 times the performance and power efficiency. Now when it says that about the power efficiency, let's look at the specs. So view full specs. Does it say what the recommended power supply is? Does it say it? I don't think it will it? There we go. So, graphics card power, 450 of your earth watts. So that's what it wants. But they're saying your minimum system power, i.e. your power supply, ideally should be 850 watts. Which is a lot of watts, let's be fair. So it's got twice the efficiency, but it needs a 450 watt input and an 850 watt power supply. So that's going to rule most people out of the game straight away. If we look at the Radeon, this is the RX 7900 XTX. Now, obviously, a lot of this hasn't been confirmed because we haven't seen one, apart from what good old Lisa said on the screen. But we've got roughly 100 watts less. So typical board power here for the desktop is going to be 355 watts. So 95 watts less, in theory, with a minimum PSU recommendation of somewhere in the region of 800 watts. So that's going to be a lot of juice still. Now it does run off of 2 PCI Express connections. If we take a look at, actually, are they going to show it? I don't think there's many pictures of it, is there? No, there's not much information there. Overview maybe is on there. No. So basically, yeah, you got AMD Link, great. AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution, or FSR. This is pretty cool, but that's basically DLSS, but not quite as widely adopted at the moment. And you get the AMD Adrenalin Edition software, which arguably actually AMD software is pretty decent. If you're looking to actually buy a 4090 here in the United Kingdom and you don't want to buy it from AMD themselves, oh sorry, not AMD. Actually, what have we got price-wise? No, that's right. I was thinking of the NVIDIA one. So NVIDIA-wise, let's close that and let's shop. Let's buy 4090. So 4090 is out of stock, clearly. So you can't get an NVIDIA one, but potentially you could buy a Zotac one for 1,700 quid. So they appear to have those in stock. Gigabyte have one, it appears to be in stock. The MSI Supreme X24G is a little bit more expensive at £1,795.68. The 68 pence is very important. That's the amount of money they spent on the GPU cable to connect up the power. And it just gets a little bit worse, so add on another £5 and you can get the Gaming Trio, which I don't think there's a great deal of difference. And in fact, I think the Supreme potentially has the better cooler because it's got those new Tri-Frozr 3S fans, whereas the older Trios only got the Frozr 3. But it just gets more and more expensive. So if you want a really nice card, the Zotac Gaming GeForce RTX 4090 Trinity OC, £1,874.99. I like it that they're rounding up the 99 pence at the end.
No, those are not the prices. Click on them.
Those are not the prices. Click on them. Okay, let's do the MSI one because that's the one that I would be interested in, being an MSI fanboy. Scan £1,799. That does appear to be the price. Let's see if it is. No, that's not loading. Delivery options, DPD, or collect in store. Why is that not letting me buy it? Maybe it isn't the price then, because maybe I cannot actually buy it.
Out of stock, all of these.
Okay, let's see, 4090.
A letter says the 4090 price proves that common sense is an oxymoron.
Yeah. Right, hot seller, so yeah, I don't think we're going to find one. Right, so those are the ones that are actually in stock. So the closest we can get is the pallet. And that one at £1,800. It makes me laugh just even saying it out loud. So we can actually add that to basket. And you get free delivery. I'd hope so. So that's in the basket. We'll save that for later. So that is the Pallet Game Rock edition, which... How much are they saying it is on there? I didn't see it on here, actually. No, I didn't see pallets on there. Show more pallets. All right, yeah, they're not. For some reason, they're not showing it on their site, so I'm not sure why that is. Maybe they've fallen out of it. But yeah, these are basically the prices of used cars.
That's what a letter said.
Oh yeah, I've just seen that. To me, these prices are the price of used cars, not GPUs. They are. It's ridiculous.
But then used cars have gone up.
So realistically, who in their right mind is going to spend £2,000 on a graphics card? There is a market for it, but I don't think it is aimed at you and I, dear viewer. This is going to be what it is. Stuart says they will all be sold out from the beginning as always, but if you really want one, I think it's best to wait a few months or till the 4090 Ti arrives in 2023. Yes. Well, these are available, which is kind of unusual. I actually wasn't thinking they would be. And in terms of the 3090, see that, to me, even though that is ridiculously expensive still, at £1,150, the 3090 Ti is going to be, what, roughly 60% of the speed of the 4090. So it's not ideal, but it is a significant saving, if that is even a word. But let's take a look at the old favourite. Here we are. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 Ti.
Can you get rid of Stuart Carey's thing?
369 quid plus the... actually, this is a bit of a swizz, actually, because if you add that to your basket, if you try and check out, let's get rid of that one. So yeah, you have no choice but to add in £11.50 for delivery for next day. So £380 is what you have to pay, which I think is a little bit on the ass-ho side. I really do. The 3060, I don't think. And actually, in terms of value for money, like the Ventus cards are generally the bottom of the barrel. Arguably, I would say the Founders Edition is better than the Ventus, and even the TI Eagle, and it's about £100 cheaper. So that is why I think this is a really good value for money. Scott Thomas. Scott Thomas, for those of you who don't know who Scott Thomas is, Scott was featured actually in the video on Friday, which was the Fix or Flop episode 1. That was his little NZXT PC, which we fixed the water pump on. And yes, hopefully it is still working fine. For those looking at upgrading is, what was it, 1080 Ti, wasn't it? Yes. So his question is, what's the best upgrade for my 1080 Ti for 4K? Has to fit in the H1, don't mind used. To be honest with you, when it comes to 4K cards, I'm not entirely sure what I would say or what I would suggest, if I'm being completely honest with you. It's a real minefield. Sorry, let me just close that down. I don't know. I'm going to have to kind of open this one up to the community. For those of you that are gaming on 4K, hit us up in the chat. What would be your suggestion? If you've got a 1080 Ti at the moment, you're probably realistically for a noticeable upgrade, I think really you've got to be looking at least 2080. Possibly a 3070. Maybe the 3060 Ti might actually do it for you. It depends how many FPS you want in 4K, and obviously all the games are going to struggle in 4K. If you're going to be using DLSS or some of the sampling technologies, then you probably could get away with something like a 3060 Ti. And if you get a used one, you might even pick one up for about 300 quid, maybe even less. And if you sell your 1080 Ti to fund it, you might not have to spend too much more. I don't know, let's see what people are saying. So Lucky Man 1 is saying 2060 Super. Hello Lucky Man, by the way. And actually I haven't said hello to those of you in the chat already like we normally do, but yeah, take it as a given that I'm welcoming you on board. Matthew Day says CEX are ridiculous for the 3060 Ti. The 3070 is a 5 or less. Yeah. Shrek OC, how you doing, Shrek? Shrek, are you the Shrek from Discord? If you are, you should be a moderator, I believe. Anyway, yeah, 3060 Ti is the lowest end card. There would actually be an upgrade from the 1080 Ti. Yeah, I think I would probably go with that. The 3060 Ti, I love it. I think it's a great card. I genuinely do. Doesn't generate a ridiculous amount of heat. I would say arguably, what's it, about 50 watts less than a 1080 Ti? I think. I'm not sure what the TDP is actually on a 1080 Ti. Can someone have a look and see what the 1080 Ti TDP is? I'm pretty sure it just... Did it use 2 8-pin cables or was it just one? I'm thinking it was just one.
I've upgraded Shrek.
Ah, nice one, Shrek.
No, it's me.
Oh, okay. Is that the Shrek? Oh, yeah, I am. Okay, cool. Nice one. James Missing says, you didn't say hi, James, unsubbed. Hi, James. Click on the sub button. VStealth2K, hi Mike, new fan of the channel, thank you very much. I'm looking to upgrade my CPU. I have an i5-10400F, but I'm really unsure what to upgrade to. To be honest with you, it depends what you want to do and what you're playing, using your PC for. It's a really tough one to jump into, but feel free to join our Discord and we can talk about it at great lengths. Or we might even come back to it a little bit later on in the stream if we can. Ugly Bob says it's a 6-pin and an 8-pin connector. So that is going to be somewhere in the region of about 300 watts, maybe 275. So, yeah, Shrek says the 3060 Ti is 200, yeah, definitely. TDP for the 250 watts. Thank you, Lucky Man. Thank you, Ugly Bob. Thank you, Barry. And anyone else who's mentioned that as well. So, you're going to get two benefits there, Scott, with the 3060 Ti. First of all, you're going to get a power reduction, which means you're not going to get so much heat in your system. Arguably, it's a slightly smaller card as well. And also the Founders Edition of the 3060 Ti, because of the fan orientation, you're probably going to get better cooling in there as well, because your existing one is a blower style cooler, whereas the new ones are just basically a big hunk of metal. So,
I wanted to get rid of the blower one.
Yeah, that is... I think in terms of value for money, the 3060 Ti Founders Edition is probably going to be the way to go in terms of a new card. If you're looking at used, that throws open a lot of and ahhing what you do. Because I don't think on the used market there's anything which would arguably fit the bill, but not be some kind of nuclear furnace, which you don't want in your little PC. I think the 2080 would be pretty good shout. Maybe a 2070. I must admit, I've not tried it. I've got a 2070 here at the moment, and I've never tried it at 4K gaming. I've only ever used it at 1440p or 1080p. So that potentially might be an option. And 2070s you can pick up quite cheap. I picked that one up off of Dave Aitken, one of our locals, who is actually very local. Got it up here. So this is the RTX 2070, just the Founders Edition. The only thing with this is a little bit on the noisy side. The fans kick in. They're basically at 40% all the time, although I have done a BIOS flash video for this. So you can actually flash this with the BIOS from the EVGA XC Ultra 2070, and that gives you then control over the RGB on the side, and also you get control of the fans. You also get 0 RPM as well, so this can be silent. Although I have found there's a weird bug in it, so that if you flash the Ultra BIOS onto this, you lose performance. So you lose about 1,000 points in Firestrike and stuff like that. So you have to then go into the X1 EVGA software and basically just max out all the limits for the power and the memory and all that kind of stuff. And then it brings it over and above what you could previously. So you can tweak it, but it's not just as simple as flashing the BIOS, although if you just want it quieter, then that is a good way of doing it. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, Scott. I don't know. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. And also, thanks again for letting us go to work on your PC. That was good fun, actually. And the fact that it's working and you're happy with it means that it was a very successful video. So thank you so much for that. Actually, I should say that as well. For those of you, if you're in the Bristol or surrounding areas and you don't mind travelling to us or meeting up somewhere, if you have a PC which either needs a little bit of TLC, needs a bit of cleaning or servicing, upgrading, or is basically just fucked, then we're quite happy to take a look at it for you. Obviously, if it's something we can repair or fix, which is either cost effective so we can do it, or perhaps maybe we could reach out to suppliers and vendors to see if anybody wants to sponsor a particular video and provide us with the equipment to do the repairs, or potentially you may have to pay towards it or pay for the parts, but we'll obviously do the labor and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in doing that, the address is at the bottom, scrolling along, mikeandmikesunboxing.com, or reach out to us on the Discord, all those kinds of usual things, or you can find me on Facebook as well. Just, yeah, have a chat. If you want to have your PC looked at, I'll look at it free of charge. I won't charge you anything at all. And potentially you might get it fixed for free as well. You never know. Scott Tate says, I have a 7600 XT paired with a 10700K, 32 gigs of RAM, does good in 4K in some games. So yeah, the 6700 10 gig is on offer at the moment as well. You can get that from eBuyer, but if you buy it through eBay, you get a little bit off as well. I think it's an extra 10% off. That has actually been listed in our deals section, Deals No Chat on our Discord. You can find all the links there. Big shout out to C McKnight and all the other guys and girls that post deals in there. You are very awesome, every single one of you.
Poppy don't type on there much now.
What was that?
Poppy don't type on Discord much now.
Poppy doesn't, no. So yeah, hopefully that is kind of answered your question. Marberry says, my son has an EVGA 1070 and he's happy with it. The 1070 is a great card and still is now. If you don't mind 1080p, medium high, or 1440p kind of low to medium settings for most games, it's still a cracking card. Guys, you know me, I don't like to spend more money than is absolutely necessary. So yeah, 1070 gets a win for me all day long. Shreko C says the 2070 is a downgrade from the 1080 Ti. I didn't know that. I thought they were kind of on par depending on what games you're playing. I suppose it is going to be swings and roundabouts. Mark Barry says Mike's Repair Shop. Oh yes, we do try. Paul Lamont says F-bomb anyone. Ugly Bob says another swear, another drink.
Ugly Bob's playing his own drinking game with you.
Bob's playing his own drinking game. Oh dear. Better not say any more cuss words or his Bob will be wrecked. Shrek says the 10 series is great. Yeah, the 1080 Ti was one of those weird cards that made it actually almost to the point that you don't want to upgrade any further than that, because it was kind of like the peak of what was possible for the money. Rick H says, Mike, I bought a Jim GM1 case in white. It's a chunky boy. Is that the square one? I think I did like the look of that myself, actually. Actually, I should mention, some of you are wondering what the stuff is on the desk. Well, you can't really see that part anyway, because the trailer at the bottom. Ugly Bob, bless his heart, sent us these over. These are the SteelSeries Arctis 1 headset. These have been reduced. You can pick them up for about 25 quid. This is the word. There's a load of versions of them. It's really confusing. So there's a wireless version, which is really expensive. There's the PlayStation 4 version, which is this one, because it's got the blue on it. There's also an Xbox version, and I think there's a PC version as well. But realistically, they all work anyway. So the only reason this is different is because the actual jack plug on the end, 3.5mm jack, is a 4-pole. So it's got TRRS. So this works for PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, your mobile phones, that sort of thing. So yeah, we'll be taking a look at those, listening to them. It's got a very bold claim on the front that says it feels and sounds more expensive than it is. I like that. That sounds like a tagline for me.
V-Stealth.
Excuse me?
V-Stealth 2K.
V-Stealth 2K, I can't see. V-Stealth.
Is there
any recommended sites or shops in the UK to buy PC parts? I'll be honest with you, when it comes to buying PC parts, it depends what it is you're after. They're all a mixed bunch. Now, the first thing I do, whenever I'm trying to buy something, I will go, first of all, I'll go to UK Hot Deals. I hate them, but I'll go there. They are asshole. They banned CAF. Please send them emails and try and get CAF reinstated. Or just ask them to remove CAF's email from the database, so we don't keep on getting crap sent to them. Anyway, UK Hot Deals, I'll go in there first of all. Actually, I'll show you. That is probably going to be easier.
Can you just ask? Can you just answer Stallion M's question?
Stallion M, is it a quick one? Stallion M, hey Mike, have you tried the True Wireless earbuds for gaming? I'm thinking of retiring my old Cloud 2. I hear latency is an issue. Anything which is on Bluetooth is going to have latency issues with gaming. There's very, very few that don't struggle with it. You will never, ever get as good a response as you will with a wired headset when it comes to gaming. And even actually for some, depending on what Bluetooth you're using, watching movies can be weird, almost like watching a Mike's Unboxing video or stream where it's out of sync and everything goes a little bit weird. It does that.
Rewind to the beginning.
Yeah, or rewind to the beginning and start again. I would suggest if you are going to go down the Bluetooth range for gaming, make sure that whatever you're using is Bluetooth 5.0 or higher, ideally 5.2, which is the latest. Not entirely much faster, but have a look to see if it includes the low latency codec, which you can take advantage of, although you're going to need an adapter in your PC which will actually do that as well. So I use, if I can get it without having everything fall down on me. Oh God. Stay. So I use one of those, that is Creative's BTW3. So this supports Bluetooth 5.0. And it also works with like your switch and all that sort of stuff, but you can choose which codecs it uses. So if your device supports it, you've got the option for aptX low latency, which is the best one. You've then got aptX HD, then you've got regular aptX, and then as a fallback, you've got SBC, which is your standard Bluetooth protocol. So those are really good. It's on USB Type-C, there's an adapter for USB Type-A. It's a very, very good little device, very handy to have. and you can get it to synchronize with headset, microphone, all that kind of stuff. So if you are going down the Bluetooth route, make sure you've got either a really good Bluetooth chipset on your motherboard, which supports BT 5.0 or more, ideally with some sort of low latency codecs, or failing that, there are some headphones, TWS headphones, which will support low latency using Bluetooth 4.0, but it's a bit kind of hit and miss. So yeah, anyway, hopefully that that works for you. Right. Oh, Stallion says the one I'm looking at does have aptX adaptive, Bluetooth 5.2. Cool. So just make sure that your motherboard or your laptop or whatever supports Bluetooth 5.2 and that low latency codec. Most of them will support Bluetooth 5.0, even some of the cheaper little Wi-Fi dongles will, but that Creative BT-W3, you can pick them up super cheap as well. Places like CX, which is going to be one of the places we'll look at shortly, they sell them really cheaply, or you can buy a brand new one from Amazon and stuff like that. If you check out our review, there'll be some links in it. Just type in Mike's Unboxing, go to there. In the search box, do Creative BT-W3. You can see my review of it and you'll find links if you want to help the channel.
Right, sorry, go back to UK Hot Deals now, innit? Sorry, I distracted you.
William Bodie says, please tell Mike, someone did open a channel on Odyssey with Mike's name on it and his videos too. Yeah, that was us. It was me and Kath, we did that. Yeah, we are on Odyssey, so if you don't want to put up with all the adverts and crap that you get on YouTube, you can watch us on Odyssey. I'm not entirely sure if it helps us in any way, shape or form being on there, but it's an option for those of you that don't like the YouTube asshole. Right, back on to the, I did notice that Goran M says, salute Mike, how you doing? Simon Arden's in the chat as well. Good evening, how you doing? Shopping, right, let's do some shopping. Right, hot UK deals.
Simon's coming at the right moment.
Yeah, Simon's coming just at the right time here. So let's go to the desktop. Hopefully that is visible. Yes, it is. Okay, so you can see here, this is Hot UK Deals. This is for UK people, obviously. There's a super chat coming from Shrek OC as well with a $3 super chat.
It's a member sticker.
Member sticker thing. Those don't set off our the RGB light for some reason because they've got a super sticker thing with the bump, chicken bump. But thank you very much appreciated. Oh dear, I am such a twat.
It's not even chicken, it's a pear, isn't it?
It's a pear.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a pear doing a fist bump. It looks like a chicken from my eyes. See, that's why I don't need. That's why I don't need a 4K graphics card. God damn you. Thanks, Shrek. So anyway, yeah, this is UK Hot Deals. It is actually quite a handy little tool for picking up stuff. So say for instance, we're looking at, I don't know, let's look at the 6700 graphics card, which might be useful for our man there for his upgrade. So as you can see, got a deal there, £291.36, eBay deal, Bosch, happy days, it's all good stuff. Paul Lamont says, don't worry Mike, I thought it was a chicken as well. And Rick H has come in with a $20 super chat. Thank you very much. That's what happens when the super chats come in, by the way. If you want to set off the disco ball and have a bit of RGB disco, and have to get up and turn the lights off because technology is rubbish.
Or we might turn all your lights off.
Yeah, that $20 will pay for the light to be on for at least this episode. Scott Tate says, all that chicken and making me hungry. I just realised I haven't had my tea yet. I had a cinnamon swirl bun thing.
But they are getting worse everywhere.
They are shite.
We've had two the last 2 days, and they've been terrible.
Right, back to the desktop. So there we go. There is the 6700 Fighter 10GB OC graphics card. It's actually not a bad card, actually, and you can use the codes there. UK Hot Deals is kind of one of the places that I'm likely to look for that sort of stuff. For slightly older stuff, it's not always as good because you're not always going to get deals there, but for processors, so at the moment a good processor, if you're looking at upgrading, the Ryzen 5 5600, which is the non-X version, is an absolute steal at the moment. Again, eBay deal. So that you can pick up at the moment, £128.68. That is a stonkingly good deal for what it is. Oh yeah, sorry, let's clear that. So yeah, if you're after a processor, it's hard to go wrong at that sort of price for this at the moment. Also, if I'm going to be going for used stuff, especially here in the UK, we're going to be looking at CX. Let's go to CX there. So uk.webuy.com. I think CX are basically in other countries as well, but this place is pretty awesome. So if you want a slightly older processor, maybe a 3600 Ryzen, boom, you get it there. Actually not a massive deal of difference in price between that 5600, but if you do want to save a few quid, then £110 gets it posted to you. That's with the postage included, and you get a 2-year warranty as well. If you've got one you want to trade in, you can actually sell your processor back to CEX for 50.
See the disco light because you got it on the wrong mode.
Oh, sorry. Let's go back to there. Sorry. Disco. Stuart Cleary with 10 euros. It is Saturday night.
And you forgot, you didn't do the one before.
Oh, and Cyberclue, sorry. I'll do that one. Cyberclue, hi Mike, what's your advice and opinion on buying used mining graphics cards? Funny enough, I was actually going to say that when we were looking at this, because I was about to look at graphics cards next. So we'll take a look at the what is going to be a typically heavily mined graphics card. Let's look at something like the RX 580, arguably possibly one of the most mined cards ever. So CX are selling those for £125.
Does that include bent pins?
That comes with straight pins on the graphics card, luckily. The downside of this is you're not always going to get an option of what graphics card you're going to get. So it's showing a Nitro there, but you might not get one. The only way you get a guaranteed type of card is if you type in something like MSI RX 580, then you can kind of narrow it down if they've got them available, but potentially you might not be able to. So there is going to be a little bit of hit and miss on that. But my thing is 125 quid for a Radeon RX 580 8 gig isn't really great value for money. It's okay, but the saving grace with CEX is you do get a 2-year warranty of everything you buy. Now, it isn't a 2-year warranty in terms of in 700 days time, if your graphics card fails, you will get £125 back. That kind of isn't the way it works. Sometimes it can be, don't get me wrong, but what they normally do is they will either give you the current market value back for your card, or they will offer you an alternative model or another one of the same again. So that is something to be a little bit wary of. It says it's a 2-year warranty, but there are terms and conditions applied to that. Now clearly, if it's a card which has been heavily mined, it's difficult to know whether or not that card has been mined caringly or by an absolute cretin who's just basically run it at full tilt all the time. Most sensible miners will end up tweaking the card, lowering the power requirements, lowering the frequencies, up in the RAM or whatever, keeping it nice and cool, air conditioned, probably clean. So often you'll find a mined graphics card actually better looked after than something which has been in little Johnny's PC for the last 2 years, and it's got all kinds of DNA all over it, which is probably not great for the card. They may have spilt things on it. It may have been left on, may not have been cleaned, regularly serviced, overheated in a tiny little box or whatever. You just don't know. And buying secondhand, it's unlikely you're going to get a warranty unless you buy it from somewhere like CEX, which does these kind of refurbished or used products. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Maybe it does, I don't know. If it does, smash the like button for me, it all helps. Yes, Kath?
V-Stealth again, please.
V-Stealth.
So Scott takes a CX postage is only covered to £100. You need to pay own to get full value back.
CX postage. Oh, if you're trading in, is that Scott? Yeah. Sorry, yeah, I know what you mean there. Yeah, if you are selling stuff to CEX, they will cover the insurance up to £100. Anything over that, then you have to pay the additional to insure your product. Which kind of makes sense, which if you're selling it to Joe Blogs on eBay or someone on Discord or whatever, you'd be doing the same thing. You'd be insuring your postage. So it kind of is that. But
if you buy online.
If you buy online,
maybe you might check that.
I'm not entirely sure that's true. Because I've bought a few things off them and I've never had the option to have more insurance on a product. Due to the distance selling regulations, if you're buying online, if it doesn't turn up for some reason or it is faulty, you're entitled to a complete refund. That's basic law. So they can't really charge you more for something they've sold you. They can't charge you more insurance to make sure that it's insured, because if it doesn't turn up or something, it's a legal requirement that they fulfill their contract. So I hope you mean they're talking about things that you're trading back in, but I don't know. Maybe not. I might have to look into that just to confirm that. If they are trying to do that, that is basically against the law. Or they're just taking advantage. Could be either. V-Stealth, sorry for the constant questions, but I'm really new to the PC world, but can you please explain the difference between K, KF and F-series CPUs? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So the F denotes the lack of graphics on board. So if you have a 10400F, it doesn't have onboard graphics, so you'd need a separate graphics card in order to play games or to see any display. If you have a K-series processor, that means it is unlocked and available to be overclocked. If you have a processor which is both a K and an F, it means they've disabled the onboard graphics and the processor is also overclockable. If you have a standard model which has no suffix on the end, so no letters, so just a straight 10400, that would be a locked processor with onboard graphics. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, if you're not too sure, you want more help, V-Stealth, join our Discord. Kath will put a link in the chat now so you can join up if you want to. And we will answer all those sorts of questions in great depth, frequently. David Underhill says the 5600G and the 5600X are great value CPUs. Yeah, definitely. I think the 5600X has got a lot of legs in it. I still use a 3600 in that system, which might get changed out for a 5600 soon. Kaiser Solo says, also never get a GPU that's old enough to go through 2 mining periods, i.e. RX 580 probably has. I wouldn't say never. I would say use caution. And if you're buying a second hand, you can always ask the seller if you can actually watch it being used, and you can check it for coil whine, make sure that it runs standard benchmarks without artifacting, that sort of stuff. Yeah, if you get it from CX, obviously you can try it, and if it doesn't work, then you've got two-year warranty guarantee thing. If the price is right, it's possibly worth a gamble. V-Stealth's joined Discord. Nice one, awesome. Oldman Withers says, I had a 5600G. It was great, especially with a A520 or B550 board. If you don't need PCI Express 4.0. Cyberclue, what is the iGPU like for the 7700X? Is it better than the 5600G? No, it's considerably worse. It is, in fact, actually, it's worse than Intel's onboard graphics. It purely is just a means of getting a display on the screen for diagnostics, testing, that sort of thing. It is horrendous. I think it's like 2 Vega cores, maybe 3. So it's going to be somewhere in the region of a like a 3000G processor, that sort of thing. So you can play games on it, but you probably wouldn't want to for any extended period. Yeah, so buying wise, CX is where I would look. For new stuff, then obviously hot UK deals or UK hot deals, whichever they're called these days. In terms of bargains, I do like to go to CCL. So let's show CCL. This is their clearance section. I love the clearance section. It's not always got a ton of stuff in it.
Take the thing off the screen.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So their clearance section, they've got all sorts of things like, well, basically anything and everything. Just things have been returned, can't be sold as new, that sort of stuff. Laptops, all sorts of things, keyboards, graphics cards, anything you can basically think of. But if you're building a PC, you go to components, look at processors, see what's about. And currently, clearance processors, they've got none. Wow. I don't remember the last time I saw that. Let's look at clearance motherboards. Right, clearance motherboards is actually working. They do have some clearance motherboards. So let's go price low to high. So if you're looking for a motherboard, not always the best of value, but motherboards are getting ridiculously expensive. You do have to pay close attention to the grading. So a B grade is basically kind of brand new almost. C grade might have maybe a couple of things missing or not come in the original box. D grade is basically board only. But there doesn't seem to be any D grades actually. Oh, there's a D grade. So if we click on that one, that's a ridiculous price. And if you go down, D grade item, and I'll tell you exactly what the deal is there. So please note that this is a D grade clearance item. D grade items may be non-functional or have significant damage. See below for details specific to this item. So this one was a manufacturer replacement from January 2021. Board and I/O shield only, missing several screws from backplate, as well as the M.2 bracket directly below the CPU socket. So it says there exactly what the deal is, which is very good of them to do. So there's no kind of questions of what is going on there. It says this item is sold as seen without warranty. Your standard 40-day consumer cancellation rights apply. So if you don't like it, 14 days you can send it back because it's distance selling. Obviously you probably wouldn't want that board because that is a lot of board for the money. But in terms of bargains, there's not really that many bargains actually on here. Those are not bad, about £18 off of that one. That one is kind of interesting to me. A B560 HD3 ATX motherboard. For an ATX board, that's actually not a bad deal. 80 quid. Sorry, looking at Poppy. C grade, 6-month warranty. So that's the board and I/O shield only. Realistically, you don't really need a lot else. M.2 screws might be nice, but do you really need a box? Do you need a manual? All that kind of stuff? Probably not. It's got Q-Flash Plus on it, so if you want to upgrade it to a newer processor, which probably will never happen, but it's got it. But yeah, happy days. It's some pretty good. Cheers, Tristan. Saying bye, Mike and Catherine all. Gotta go. Rich Cakes says, I think I have that board, Mike. That's a nice little board. So yeah, that is another option in their deal. You can always go to CCL and places like that, click on the deals, look at their mega deals. This is something I generally kind of go through most mornings. CCL, eBuyer, many others, just have a look, see what's about. But those drives are really good, and that's actually a really good price at the moment. Kingston's NV2 M.2 drive, 1TB, PCI Express Gen 4 x 4, 65 quid for a PCI Express Gen 4 x 4 drive. It is using HBM, but it actually runs really well. It's got the new, trying to think of the model number, I think it's an E16 or E17 controller from Scion or Phison or whatever the bloody hell they're called. But it's actually a really quick little drive. I put it into a system recently and it absolutely flies.
Simon Arden says speed isn't that good on that Gen 4.
The speeds aren't awesome, but it does stay consistent. So you're looking at, I think it's 3800 reads, no, sorry, 3500 read, and I think the writes are about 2700. But in terms of actual consistent throughput, it's really good. The IOPS are like off the chain. So yeah, I would certainly recommend that drive. If you're looking at one, and you're thinking, I'm looking for a 1TB NVMe drive, the NV2s are massively, massively improved over the NV1s. And they will downclock as well. So if you want to use PCI Express Gen 3, you certainly can do. Scott says, Mike, I used your videos when looking for cheap cases. Some good stuff. We do try. I've actually got some new stuff coming from GameMax shortly, which would be nice to look at. Sorry?
Do I go to the other camera?
I would love to. Thank you very much.
It's a reminder.
So, hi, I'm still here. I should mention as well, this keyboard is on the desk, which you may not be able to see. This is the Surefire Kingpin M2. This has been sent over from the guys at Verbatim. You may have heard of Verbatim. They are kind of like, or they have been the absolute brand leaders in data storage and stuff like that over the years. If you've been around long enough, you'd have probably had a Verbatim floppy drive, or maybe even a 5 1/4 drive, possibly at some point. But yeah, good stuff. They sent this over. This is a phenomenal keyboard. Their ethos at the moment is they want to produce high quality, but at budget prices. And they've massively done it with this. I've done the review already. We'll be going live soon, but we are going to be doing a giveaway for this. So if you do want to be entered in the giveaway for this keyboard, one thing I should say, this is in the US layout. It is a red linear switch key on here, removable keycaps, but it is an American layout, which is why I am giving it away. So if you do want a mechanical keyboard for your gaming and your RGB needs, Kingpin M2, send me an email. We'll be doing it by email, so mike@mikesunboxing.com. It should be down there somewhere, if you can't see it already. Send me an email and just put in the subject, put giveaway or keyboard giveaway, something along those lines. I'll stick all the emails into a folder, and in like a week or so's time, or after the video's actually gone out probably, I will be doing a draw, probably in a live stream. I may just email you and say, look, you've won. We'll do a draw one way or the other. So if you do want a mechanical keyboard, this has got a retail value of about £45 or so. It's actually pretty heavy. It's over 1 kilo in weight, so it's very strong, very sturdy. Poppy appears to like it. Ass in face, come on. So if you do want to be in with a chance to win this, yeah, email mike@mikesunboxing.com, and in the title, just put the thing in, just put something in there saying, Mike, I'd like to win this keyboard because I'm American and I use an American layout. Or I'm a gamer and I want a nice keyboard. The RGB on this is amazing. It's such a clear and crisp RGB, and the font on the keys is amazing. You will have to look at the video when it comes out shortly, but yeah. I'm very impressed with this keyboard. I don't want to give it away, but it hasn't got a UK layout, so for me it sucks. I said it, there it is. Anyway, so that is why that is on the table. That was just to remind me that we are going to be doing a giveaway for that. So if you want to be in it, you've got to send me an email. That's the way to do it. I'm waiting for
Can you go back up to
a letter to say something about the keyboard, but she probably hasn't already.
G-Zone Gamer.
G-Zone Gamer says PCI Express 3 can't use PCI Express 4, or can they? When it comes to M.2 drives, yes, they are backwards compatible. Graphics cards are as well, but sometimes you have to manually tell the system that it is a Gen 3 drive or card rather than a Gen 4. Very easy to do. Go into the BIOS, PCI Express settings, just set it to Gen 3. Very straightforward. Kaiser Solo 76, Mike really happy with the GameMax Spark. Great small case for a micro ATX. It is actually. They're just, oh shit, run over my cable. They're just about to release the white version in the UK. We had the black, I think it was, or the gunmetal one. So those will be coming out shortly. I might see if I can get hold of one of those in white to see what it's like to build in a game. I did enjoy that, I'll be honest with you. Shrek says you can't type the pound sign with an American layout. That is correct. You kind of, it's weird because on the UK layout we've still got the dollar sign, but on American keyboards I don't think the pound is actually on there. Or it is, but it's in a different place altogether, and it's just muscle memory kicks in and you can't do it. Yeah, I don't think it's got it at all. No, it hasn't. Yeah, and the hashtag key for us is down by the enter key, and for you guys in America it's like on the 3 key, and the 2 key is your commas, whereas for the 2 key is your @ sign, whereas our @ sign is next to the enter key, almost next to the hashtag one. So there are some really weird things, and it's actually really difficult to get out of. If you've been using the keyboard, I've been using keyboards now since probably around about 1985, I want to say, maybe maybe before, no, about 85. So it's really hard after all those years of muscle memory to try and get used to a different layout. So anyway, yeah, nice little keyboard. We'll be giving that away to some lucky people. It will be basically a worldwide giveaway, so no doubt we will have to incur some postage costs for that. God knows. It's really heavy as well. Like, you get an idea of how heavy it is. It's a lumpy keyboard, but it's pretty nice. Andre's with us. Hi, Andre. Barry says, can't you change the keycaps and change them to English layouts? No, because it is actually physically a different layout. So the buttons are actually a different shape. So things like we've got the longer shift key, bigger L-shape enter button. And I think our tab and control buttons are different size as well. Possibly. Depends on the individual keyboard manufacturer, but generally the ISO layout or the American layout is quite different. Scott says, I'm kicking the ass off of 50s, so I've been using UK layout a while. Yeah, I know that feeling. Shrek says, the UK keyboard has an extra key. It probably has, due to the fact that we've got the, I think it's the hash key is the extra key. Possibly. Yeah, because we've got a dedicated key for the @ sign. I don't know. It's different. It's very different. Ordinary Dudes with us, how you doing? William Bodie says, question, did the Razer Mini help in Fortnite? I'll be honest with you, no. It didn't. It actually hindered me a little bit because I am left-handed. So left-handed mouse, I use my right hand for movement. And normally I use arrow keys. But because the 60% keyboards don't have the number pad or that pad, I'm using the ASDW. And ASDW on a lot of keyboards is slightly pissed. So if you look at where your arrow keys are, that is like a proper triangle, or basically the up and down are above each other. But ASDW is kind of offset, but it's offset for basically, I'm guessing, left-handed people on that side, which it kind of makes sense. But yeah, it doesn't. I kept on trying to go forward and backwards, and I was kept on like getting my finger stuck in between the A and the S. First world problems, eh? David Underdale says, pound on US layout, no problems. I don't know how you do it. William says, get a USB numpad on Amazon. The number pad might actually, I don't know if I could. I think it's more the arrow keys. The number pad I probably could do. We'll see what we can do. V-Stealth, would my 10400K be okay for just everyday casual gaming? Because if so, I'm not going to bother upgrading just yet. To be honest with you, most games these days, apart from things like CSGO and some kind of roleplay games, most of them are going to be GPU bottlenecked. So as long as you've got enough RAM, enough storage space, your processor is probably the last thing you want to upgrade, really. Scott says, I don't do TKL keyboards, they're a pain in the nachos. Yeah, 10 keyless I can kind of slightly get behind a little bit more. The 60% ones, I think 60% keyboards are really for right-handed people. I don't think being left-handed and a 60% is, yeah, it just doesn't, I don't know, maybe it does. It doesn't feel right to me. Barry Cartwright, he's still in the same thing, so I'm still getting used to my 60% where all the keys are, and I'm also left-handed. Yeah, being left-handed, it is technically a disability. At least it is if you've got a 60% keyboard. Michael Thompson says I use both US and UK keyboards. And US models are generally cheaper to buy than US style ones. Wonder what that is. Old Man Wither's mouse was £3.71. Done well there. Patrick LaBelle, anyone know about a nice keyboard, wireless and a fingerprint reader? Oh god, yeah, there was a, what was the manufacturer I did ages and ages ago?
Have it?
No, it wasn't Have It, it was, what was that one? It's that really nice slimline keyboard.
Oh, don't know.
So Dave had it, didn't he? If you look up on Mike's Unboxing, if you look for slimline, do a search for slimline keyboards, and there was a brand on there. I can't think of the brand name now, but it was a keyboard and mouse set. But they do one in their range with a fingerprint sensor built in.
Only a slimline treadmill.
Matthew Day says, I ended up left mousing, even though I'm right-handed, maybe I should try and switch. Tumbrel says, Alt plus 0163 for the pound sign. If you had to press the pound sign as many times a day as I do, you wouldn't want to be doing that amount of key switches. Sender. Yeah, that's it. I'm sure it's Sender. They're the keyboard manufacturer. I'm sure they do one. Oh, low profile, sorry.
Oh no, that's the wrong one. No, sorry.
Ow, legs popped out of my hip. Oh, it's okay. I've got another one on the other side.
Where is it?
Getting stuck in the wires now. Oh, for... Sorry. Where are we? Willie Jr. A great name. I just installed a Mag B550 Tomahawk Max Wi-Fi, updated the BIOS and the Wi-Fi won't work or even pop up. How do you fix it? I'd imagine you've probably flashed it with the non-Wi-Fi version. It happens a lot, and it does actually allow you to do it, bizarrely, because the checksum is the same, it's just the Wi-Fi isn't on there. I would triple check that you've actually installed the correct version of the BIOS. The B550 Tomahawk and the Tomahawk Max Wi-Fi, etc. They're really, really fussy. Potentially it could be the fact that it might even be disabled in the BIOS. It's difficult to say, but that'd be the first thing I'd check, is that you've actually flashed the right BIOS. I would suggest also joining our Discord, because that is going to be something which is going to be really, really hard to cure or at least diagnose on a stream. Ugly Bob says HP do one. Yeah, HP do one. I'm sure they do one. I'm pretty sure I've seen one. Welly Bob says, what made you use the ultra wide for tonight's stream? Well, it's quite good because when I'm using this screen, it's basically I've got a 16:9 window there, and I've also got the chat. If you know when you're looking at chat, you've got the option to click on pop out chat. So I pop out the chat into a separate window, so I can have that on the side. So the extra wide part of it gives me that extra resolution, so I can put the chat on one side, still have a 16:9 ratio, give or take, for the main Windows screen there, and I can basically swap between them, and it just looks normal. I don't have to worry too much about trying to get everything to line up. So yeah, it's worked out really well. And the only thing I didn't have was a long enough... I bought 2 DisplayPort cables thinking, because this particular monitor, if you use it under HDMI, it will only give you something like 30 Hertz if you're at a certain resolution. And because the resolution I want to use it at needs a DisplayPort cable, I thought, right, I'll put the DisplayPort cable in. But I think I need like a 3 or 4 meter cable rather than this 2 meter cable, which I've stupidly bought 2 of. So I might have to get a DisplayPort coupler, which would be cheaper than buying another cable, I expect. Anyway. Scott Tate says MSI boards are a pain for having exact BIOS. Yeah, I've had it a few times, especially on the Tomahawk boards. The B450s were the more problematic because someone would flash like a Tomahawk Max BIOS onto a Max 2 board and all those kinds of things. It's a bit of a pain. Old Man Withers says, I've never seen the point in expensive mice and keyboards, but I have the reaction speed of a Royal Mail delivery request.
Oh, don't talk about Royal Mail.
Yeah, they let us down again this week for a couple of send-outs.
And our local one's shut.
Where are we? Ugly Bob says he's using the ultra-wide because that's the only one that will show his sausage fingers. Thank you. Michael Thompson says ultra-wide all the way. I would use this on my desk, but it physically doesn't fit. I literally got to the point where I got the jigsaw and everything out and I cut out I've got this IKEA desk. I'll see if I can actually find it so you can see what I'm working with here. Oh, before I do so, there's a super chat from Ugly Bob. Thank you, Ugly Bob, very much for your £10, and says congratulations on the 80,000 subs, Mike and Kath. Thank you. It's we just sit here on a daily and weekly basis making this dross for you lot to consume. It seems that 80,000 of you actually managed to click the subscribe button, which is bizarre.
Amazing.
Because I think we've had, I'm not too sure how many million views we've had on the channel, but it's something bizarre, like, is it like 20 million views or something bizarre? I don't know. IKEA desk. Let's have a look at IKEA computer desk with drawers. Let's see if I can find it. It's a really old desk that we've got. We've had this computer desk for like 15 years or more. I'll see if I can find a picture of it so you can get an idea. But basically the monitor, it's one of those desks that you close at night.
34.4 million.
34 million views we've had on the channel, which is quite insane. IKEA desk with... I wonder if it's a desk or whether you would call it a bureau. Is it a bureau?
It might be a bureau with a nice blouse.
That's a smashing blouse. I can't find it. It's... Oh! Computer desks. Right. Yeah, accept cookies, whatever. Actually, that might be an upgrade. This is from Next, unfortunately. So if you get an idea, that is basically what my computer desk is kind of like. So it's got these kind of doors and it all goes inside there. So there's only a limited amount of room. This one's actually got much better room. That's the desk I should actually maybe even change to. 750 quid? You shove that right up your ass. That's not going to happen. 750 quid for a desk? Is there something in there which jumps out and gives you a massage? What is going on in there? That cat, they caught something. Anyway, you get the idea. So physically, that monitor will not fit inside my desk. Which is, yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, my 32-inch monitor, which is currently in there, is curved. And if it wasn't for the curve, it would just about squeeze in. So because it's curved, it's a little bit smaller on the edges. And there's about that much either side of the monitor. And that's a 32-inch curved. So a standard 32 flat would just about scrape the sides, I think. And the 34 ultra wide, basically, you have to put it on an angle to make it fit in the desk, which is not the optimum solution. But I've got to try and work out. I need to change that desk because it's not really good for my posture and all that. But I've been saying this for how many bastard weeks now? Months,
Don't
years.
Swear, Uncle,
Sorry, Bob.
Uncle Ugly Bob's going to be
wrecked.
wrecked.
It's been nearly 5 years now, I think, thereabouts. And I do need to do something with my desk situation.
Well, we had to
But I don't want to get rid of the thing because that cost me best part of 80 quid when we bought it. I bought two. So Kath's got one, I've got one, and then we've got like the chimney breast in the middle. So it's kind of... It's cool because it's all self-contained, so when we go to bed, yeah, we can just close the doors and it's not really there. Anyway. Oh, Willie Jr. says, I got the Wi-Fi to work. I appreciate it. How did you get it to work, Willie? Did you actually flash the wrong BIOS?
No, he said he didn't.
I bet he did. I bet he did. Good stuff. Stuart Cleary is coming with a €20. Thank you. 80,100 subs. Got an extra 100 since yesterday. Did we get 80,000 yesterday? Or was it the day before?
I think it's the day before.
Yeah, subs mean nothing. It's a nice thing to have, like, to say. It's like basically a badge of honor. Like, this is how many subs you got. Ultimately, it comes down to views. Views is what basically drives the whole engine.
Watch time, isn't it?
And yeah, watch time and views is the real thing, which as a creator or owner of a channel, that's what you're looking at. Watch time and view minutes and all that kind of stuff, views. Skystalker's coming with a super chat as well, 10 Canadian dollars. Thank you very much, Sky. And glad to see you with us as well. You've not been in a couple of weeks and don't know whether you've not been well or whatever, but hopefully you're okay.
We've missed you.
Next goal, 100k subs. I am so looking forward to getting my silver plaque. That would be awesome. If the world is still spinning, or going around like a record on its disc-like flat earthness, then yeah, if we manage to get through this period of human history to 100k, it would be awesome. David Underhill says 80k subs, but only 100 watching the live stream. Yeah, it's that's pretty much always been one of those things, really, that I was watching. Actually, this is something which we might discuss anyway. For those of you that are watchers of the YouTube, you may have heard of someone called Adamant IT, Graham and Caradog over at Adamant IT, and they were. I watched the stuff, and some of our viewers are obviously viewers there, and vice versa, and we kind of get mentioned either way. And I've spoken to Graham before, and someone asked him the question in the chat whilst I happened to be in there about doing collaborations. And he said that he would be open to doing collaborations with other YouTubers, either larger or smaller channels, whatever, if there was a good reason or some good kind of theme or topic to do it on. So I just jokingly put in the chat, want to collab? You know me, I just think after I've typed. That is generally the way I do things. And he seems kind of open to the options. So if any of you have some solid ideas of what would make an interesting, watchable collaboration between Mike's Unboxing and Adamant IT, then please do let us know. Either way, let Graham know or let me know, and we'll see what can happen. Would you like to see it? David Underhill says, don't start on the flat earth bullshit. I like it. It's not flat, it's disc-like.
Just stop.
Okay. Really Random View says, Adamant is a clever guy. Yeah, I watch some of his laptop and thingy repairs. They're awesome.
K2?
K2, hey, might remember me, it's Half the Tree. I do vaguely remember Half the Tree. Yes, welcome back. Stuart Cleary says, all round to Mike's for the 100k piss up. Richard says, that was me. Oh, Richard, was that you that asked the question in the live stream there? It's a pretty good... Ordinary Dude is being pedantic or sarcastic, one of the two. Do a collab on hair care. Well, clearly my hairline doesn't need any care. It might need a little bit of plotting to put something in there.
You could just
and clearly Graham isn't going to be doing anything on shaving, so we're kind of worlds apart.
Well, he could get above you and just put his beard over your head.
Yeah, if Graham stood above me, put his beard on the top, and I could just spread it out across the top. It'd be like one of the. Actually, it'd be like the front cover of Bohemian Rhapsody from Queen. Put Caradog on the top as well and Calf on the bottom. Oh dear, that would be fun. Stuart Cleary says Adamant IT is a cool nerdy guy. He is actually. Miguel says yes, I would see both channels. Good. There's something that would be it would be something would be. I'm trying to think myself what would be the kind of the selling point there, because although we have a very similar kind of audience, we do things in very, very different ways. As you know, I'm very laid back, and it's not as if like this is my job as such to mend PCs and stuff. Although I enjoy doing it, it's kind of a hobby, but for him it's a business. So he has considerably more knowledge, and he's basically doing it day in, day out. So it would have to be something which would be a challenge for him, but also a challenge for me. So we'd have to kind of meet somewhere in the middle, which would be interesting. Patrick LaBelle's come in with a 10 Canadian dollars super chat. Says congratulations for the 80k milestone. Far from the 20k-ish when I subscribed. Thank you very much, Patrick. Appreciate that. Paul Lamont says, I do see Mike thinking on the video, but not suitable for YouTube. Yeah. Old Man Withers says, with Lecky going for the roof, most energy efficient PC you can run AAA games on at 1440p. Yeah, I think actually that's actually not a bad idea, because I think for Graham in his shop to actually have something on sale which would be a PC, like a low wattage PC or value for money gaming PC that doesn't basically eat trees, would be quite a good selling point. I don't know whether it would work for him. I'm not too sure how busy his shop is or what his clientele are like. I'm not really that au fait with whereabouts the location of his shop is, so that would come into it. If he's got clientele which are mostly kind of families and things like that, where they are starting to kind of feel the pinch a little bit, then maybe that would make more sense. But if he's in a more kind of studenty type area where they're kind of shared accommodation and the bills are kind of thrown in, maybe it's a slightly different outlook in that area. Something to definitely think of anyway. Thanks, Bob. Scott says, I'm an electronics engineer. I play with PCs for fun. I think that's what we should all do. Richard, what about Michael Fixit? Nothing wrong with that for a serious title. Wouldn't that be funny to do Michael Fixit, and actually if you have your PC fixed, you get a Michael Fixit badge?
What did we look like?
Oh, I'd have to start wearing tracksuit bottoms. Oh dear.
No. Do you want a cigar?
Yeah, I'll do, whilst having a cigar. Now then. I wish I could do the voice really well, because I could really go with that. It would be excellent. Oh, I have tried to do it. I can do the jingle jangle jewelry. I can do that. That's all right. Calf's had to walk away. I think she's had a little wee. Oh dear. Mark Berry says don't wear a wig. No, I definitely wouldn't do that. No, I will not do. James Messina says do a Kerry Holzman impression. Actually, for those of you that are regular viewers, you will note that myself as an individual and other members of our Discord have been actually banned from Kerry Holzman's channel in terms of the live chat. But the other day he actually did a members only video, and the chat was left open for the normal stuff at the bottom, comment section. So I thought, I watched the video a little bit, and I thought I'll just see if I can actually type in here. And I typed in a thing saying something about, nice video, thanks for making it, that type of thing. Press enter, thinking that's never going to stick. And lo and behold, it actually worked. And actually, lo and behold, even more, Kerry Holzman himself, the Turtle Warrior, actually replied and was actually complimentary. And I was like, wow, I'm going to take him back here now. What is going on? So I actually replied again saying, thank you, Kerry, and I appreciate you replying. So there you go. Kerry Holzman, bless his cotton socks, actually replying to someone who's previously banned from his channel. How cool is that? So if anyone goes over to see any of his videos and you notice that I'm there and you're thinking, well, Mike, you were slagging him off. Yes, I still will slag him off because some of the things that he does, I disagree with. I'm upfront about that. But the fact that I just appreciated it, and he actually took the time to reply to a comment, I thought, yeah, happy days. Oh, Poppy, you're a bit wet. You been out in the cold? I don't think the ladies and gentlemen want to see your bum hole. Thank you. David Thompson says, I remember when Kerry was swatted. Yeah, that was, yeah, not good. David Andrew says, who the question mark is Kerry? It's Kerry Holzman. He's got a PC channel, an American channel. He's been around for donkeys. He's got about 35 years of experience, believe it or not. Which is, there's a long base, yeah, to put the kind of the context like there. So, when we kind of started up the channel, when we were starting to get a bit more traction, don't know, I can't remember how it happened, but we were talking with Brytech from Brytech 09, Brian. So we used to talk to him, and he, in the past, had some dealings with Kerry Holzman, and they're basically not really on speaking terms now, even though they were kind of really good friends and they used to do streams together and all that kind of stuff years ago. And you'd kind of hear some of the stories and get some of the background, and I then would watch Kerry Holzman and think, oh, blimey. Yeah, you can kind of see what Brian was on about there in some respects. They both have their pros and cons, and they both have their failings. We're all human beings. I have mine, they have theirs, etc. But when you're on a sort of slightly more public stage, it becomes more emphasised and people pick up on it. Like, I look like the bloke from The Mummy. I get that a lot. It happens. So yeah, basically, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, basically, yeah, you hear stories and you almost get a preconception of what somebody is like. So yeah, there's always been this kind of on-running thing. Basically, at the end of the day, we're all in the same game. We're all doing the same thing. Some take it a lot more seriously than others. As you well know, because you're here on the live stream, you know that I don't take it very seriously at all. I don't take myself very seriously. Ultimately, we're all human beings. We all make mistakes. No one's perfect. And yeah, if you like my advice, great. If you don't, that's great also. I don't care less. Others, such as Kerry, is very much of the kind of, he's got the experience, he's got the knowledge, that is the way to do it. Which kind of is, I'm slightly diametrically opposed to. So there's going to be obviously confrontation and stuff like that, or not so much confrontation, but disagreements, let's say. And me personally, I'm quite happy to have a disagreement in public and people make up their own minds. Kerry is more of a kind of, right, you've said something I disagree with, ban, ban, ban. I don't like that. That's a little bit too aggressive for me, but it was nice that he did actually reply to a comment, so I have to give him some kudos points for taking the time to reply. A lot of people don't. In fact, there's an awful lot of YouTubers of various sizes, channels, which I comment on videos now and then, and some of them reply, some of them don't. And the ones that don't are the ones that you think, yeah, you're probably just doing this for the money, aren't you? You're not doing it for the community or all that kind of stuff. Anyway, moving on. Super chat there from, I don't even know how to pronounce that. DRX. I have a RX 6650 XT. I'm wondering if I should get a Ryzen 5 5600X or a 12400F. I don't know. Depends what platform you're currently on. If you're buying all new, so new motherboard, processor, RAM, there ain't going to be a lot between them, to be fair. The 12400F would arguably have slightly better single core performance. I would argue the 5600X is probably going to be better multi-core and also is unlocked for overclocking, whereas the 12400 is a locked processor, so basically what you get is what you're given, and that is it. So yeah, anyway. Richard says, carrying the tech deals, very similar. They love their 8-year builds. Yeah, I've never really gone down that route of, like, this is a longevity build, because things change. Like, things change from one year to the next. So to be looking 5 to 8 years ahead in the future, I don't know. Everybody has their own little niche show.
Make Miguel up a bit?
I
don't know if it's up a bit. I don't know where you are.
Gary says he didn't know it was you. Yeah, I think you're probably right, to be honest with you. Jay Gordon says Kerry's early stuff were good before we went diva. Yeah. Scott Tate says life's too short, man. Yeah, like my legs. Matthew Day, Kerry, dead nuts against cheap keys. Is that the one? Kind of. But I think he's kind of come round to it now. So he's actually started ponying up cheap keys himself now. They're not the cheapest, but they are less expensive than the ones that he was recommending previously. So yeah, I think he was... in fact, that's one of the reasons he fell out with Brytech, because Brian was starting to do stuff with SCD keys. And I think Kerry possibly insinuated that those keys were possibly not 100% legit. And obviously, two biggest channels, if you tell one set of people that something's not legit, it's kind of cast in shade a little bit. So yeah, I think that's pretty much why they fell out. Ugly Bob says 35 years in experience. In what though? Arguably some form of computing or repairs. James Messenia says, I also made a response to a Kerry Holzman video and his acolytes jumped all over me, but you defended me in a sort of way. Well, I'm not sure if it was intentional or not at the time. I don't recall the particular moment, but yeah. I think we're on a very similar wavelength, James.
Did you go up and do Miguel?
Miguel. I was scrolling up.
3 above the super chat.
Right, where's the super chat? There we go. Miguel. Ah, there we go. Miguel Garcia Jr. That's a fantastic name. That is absolutely fantastic. Mike, which air cooler will be the best for the Lian Li Lancool 3 with my MSI 570 Gaming Edge board with Ryzen 3 3700X, 32 gigs of PNY RAM? Well, air cooler wise in there, from memory, I think it's 183 millimeters of clearance. So basically anything. 3700X is one of those ones which is a little bit harder to cool than some of the 65 watt parts. I think the 3700X is a 105 watt or 95 watt, no, 95 watt part, I believe. So it's not going to need a great deal. Lancool 3 is going to give tons of airflow. So, sorry, I've got to drink my drink a minute because Kath wants to make another one.
That's horrible. Headphone users.
Like I said, I don't take myself too seriously. Life is too short. Back to the cooler, I would say for 3700X, you didn't say what country you're in, which is going to have a bearing on it. I personally, at the moment, my cooler of choice for my daily driver, which is with a Ryzen 7 5800X, kindly supplied by Welly Bob at a very, very reasonable price. Oh, where is it? Oh, I have to actually stand up a little bit. Is this one, the Fortis 5 RGB from Silentium PC. Now, Silentium PC have actually gone through a massive rebranding. They're called something completely different now. So you might actually find these super cheap on clearance. It's a 140mm tower cooler with a 140mm fan. Does an awesome job, super heavy, 6-year warranty, blah, 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 blah. There is a video on it. You're more than welcome to check it out if you want to. That is highly recommended, reasonably priced as well. If that isn't entirely your thing, this is also a good choice. The Fuma 2 from Scythe. Nice cooler, nice decent sized heatsink, so you're not going to foul RAM, etc. 2 fans on there. The 15mm one on the front actually helps RAM clearance as well. That is an awesome choice also. You've also got things like Geled's Phantom Black, that also performs very well. Freezer 34 Esports Edition, I guess you could probably throw at that as well. That would do quite well. Lots of options. I would say it depends on your what region you're in and how much money you're looking at spending. You've got things like the Dark Rock 4. That's just a massive chunk of metal, which is going to do really well. So that's probably worth a look. Let's fast forward a little bit, see what else you're saying. Avengi says 105 watts is the 3800X. Thank you very much. Yeah. 3700X is a 65 watt part. Is it really? Well, that's awesome then. So yeah, you should be able to cool that very easily with pretty much most coolers. I have a little bit of a soft spot, I'll be honest with you, for the Freezer A35. It's a very nice looking little cooler and quite easy to fit and can be relatively inexpensive depending where you are. Of course, you've got the other options such as the Snowman cooler. If you don't mind going through AliExpress, pick up a Snowman, pretty cheap. The SE224 XT from whoever the brand is called. Where have I put that? I've been moving around my to be reviewed shelf. Oh, it's right underneath there. Deep Cool is that? Or ID Cooling? Yeah, it's down there. I'm not digging it out. There's underneath too many boxes and that will all fall over. Freedom House 1984 says ID Cooling SE224 XT is great. You can get it for 25 quid. That is basically what I was going to say. Yeah. Chris Hartford says, and also reflects my own personal feelings there. Says, I wish I bought more of those 10 quid Antec A50 coolers. Yes, I should have bought 10 at least. William Bodie says, the Fuma 2 with 2 notcher fans are better than water cooling. I've got it. Yep, I can. The Fuma 2 is great. The only thing is the Fuma 2, as standard with its stock fan configuration, the fans aren't that powerful. So they're relatively low RPM. I think the front one is like 1200 RPM or something, the 15mm one. Tractor 66, yeah, of course, Deep Cool AK620 double tower cooler. That's also pretty good. Most of the coolers on the market these days, kind of within a few degrees of each other, are very, very similar. And depending on how you tune your fans, they are going to perform very similarly. So I would just say there's some options. Look in your local region, see what's available, and probably go for whichever one you like, really. But obviously, if it looks nice and it appeals to you, then get it. Or if it's just really cheap. Yep, of course, you've got Noctuas, the U12 or the D15 will fit in there easy. It's probably a little bit of overkill, but certainly could be done. Patrick Bell says, I ran my 37X with a Snowman MT6 when they were cheap. Yeah, I think here in the UK now, trying to get hold of the Snowman coolers from AliExpress is pretty expensive. The shipping is not cheap. Scott Thompson says, I got a Sahara Iced Rainbow CPU cooler last December for this old i5, but it blocks one RAM slot, and I was forced to strip off the heat spreader of the RAM stick to get it to fit. Dear. Mikael says, thank you, Mike. I'm a big fan of yours. Keep rocking it. Bye. Smash the like button before you go. Rick H says, I just bought the ID Cooling Frostflow X240 Snow CPU water cooler for $54 USD. That's pretty good. I'm finding actually some of the radiators here in the UK now have started to creep up in price. Like decent 240 mils are like 70, 80 quid. Thanks for that, Scott. I did see that and acknowledge it. Mark Berry, Arctic Freezer 34 Duo on my PC runs pretty good. I don't think you can go too far wrong with the Freezer series. They are pretty good. If you can pick them up on a deal. That being said, Black Friday is coming very, very soon. So we got, what's that, less than 2 weeks until Black Friday. Yeah, well, it's a week and 6 days. I have to think then. And there will obviously be some pre-Black Friday deals. Wow, that was hard to say. So realistically, from kind of Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to start kicking off. Stuart Cleary says, thinking of getting an NZXT Kraken Z73 360mm for my 5800 X3D. Flexing, oh yes. I am kind of stuck really now with my my processor. With the 5800X, it's kind of like on the AM4 platform, where do I go from there? There isn't really, well, I suppose you got the 5900, which arguably would give you some more cores, a few threads, possibly run a little bit cooler, or the 5800X 3D. Yeah, the 5950 is just a bit too ridiculous. So I'm kind of at the end of what AM4 can do for me at the moment. Venji says you can easily reach Noctua. It's nice to go to choice. It's a nice go-to choices since you get a free upgrade anyway when the bracket change with every new Gen CPU that comes out. That is very true. Noctua are pretty good like that. I would say actually Freezer, or Arctic rather, they're in a similar boat. They have embraced that also. So if you get a CPU cooler and it is potentially compatible with another socket, they generally will provide brackets and also other parts as well, which is pretty good.
When's Black Friday?
I think Black Friday is the 18th.
Hey Siri, when is Black Friday?
Black Friday is on Friday the 25th of November.
Oh, it's the 25th. I thought it was the 18th. That's why I was a week out then. My mistake, 20 days. So you've got 20 days to save up your money. No, it isn't different in the UK, it's just me being a twat. Sorry, Bob. Right, I think that is probably it. Right, unless there's any other... Is there any final questions? I'll give you the 5-minute warning, or thereabouts, unless it gets a particularly interesting question and I rabbit on for hours. I do feel that I should give you a few more minutes due to the absolute cluster F that was the start of the stream. Matthew Day says, if you don't like Noctua colours, they do have Chromax. They do, and I've still not found a case where I can put my 200mm Noctua Chromax black fans in. One day, it will happen.
Maybe it's because William Bodie says they cheat with Black Friday. They do here, don't they? So you've probably...
Well, there's Black Friday deals right now.
Yeah, so you've probably seen it, like a deal on that day.
Yeah.
You've got it in your head, it's the wrong day then.
Mugly Bob says you'll be getting me out of whiskey at this rate. I have to send him another thing of the chili, what's it stuff. Ooh, it's getting cold in here today. What is the temperature? It says 22.1 degrees Celsius on the Telltale clock. It's 65% humidity, which is kind of okay. But it didn't feel like 22. I got nipples like fighter pilot's thumbs.
Let's see.
No. I can't do that. Otherwise, Carrot Dog and Graham will never have me on their show. It's never going to happen. They'll be like, it'll start ghosting me. I'll be like, please, Graham, please can I come on your show, please? And he'll be like, I don't know who you are. Stop
Prank
phoning.
caller.
Prank caller, hang up. Scott Tate says was 4 degrees up in Glasgow last night. What? 4 degrees up?
4 degrees in
Viagra,
up
that'll
in
do it.
Glasgow.
Oh, yeah, I should have put a comma there. It was 4 degrees up in Glasgow last night, I get you. It was pretty cold here, actually. I don't think it was much more than about 7 or 8 degrees. William Bodie says they put the price up before and on Black Friday and they make it go down again to make it look like it's cheap. Yes, they do, the bastards. Although there is a cool program called Camel, which you can use, which will analyze pricing on Amazon. So you go to something and Camel will tell you what the previous prices have been. Very handy. Matthew Day says, I've eaten 2 fig rolls whilst watching. Oh, my diet. Don't worry about your diet, worry about your arse. 2 fig rolls, you're going to be shitting like a goose through... No, what was the thing that Shalandra used to say? Like shit through a goose. Shalandra is the owner of scan.co.uk, for those of you wondering. He comes out with some funny things on his Facebook, he really does. Comes out with... He brought in a load of cheapo drones. Like really cheap basic ones, and he's like, these will sell like shit through a goose. Like, it's not really selling it, is it? Oh dear. It's quite funny though. Stuart Cleary says, drafty Windows mic, I can help you there. To be fair, if you were more local, I would quite happily have you come around and do our windows, because we've got 2... One window's actually broken. Completely broken, it's smashed. And I've been meaning to get it replaced for so long.
And you are lucky that I've been out cutting wood for you today.
William Bodie says, Camel, Camel, Camel was an ad on Aussie race cars. It used to be also a fine quality cigarette, which you're not allowed to talk about anymore. Nick Barnes, Mike, did you make a video on recovering a PC when Windows 10 doesn't load? Daughter's friend did a Windows 10 update and system started crashing. Shared the one from 4 months ago. And how to create restore schedule. Any others? Not really. It's Windows 10 not loading. It's a really difficult thing to do. Generally, I get to the point where probably the best thing to do is do a in-place upgrade. So basically, I did a video on that. In-place upgrade. You basically go to the Microsoft site, media creation tool, make a brand new Windows 10 installation media, and basically run the installer over the top of what you've got. And it just replaces all the system files with new ones which work, and DLLs and all that kind of stuff, but leaves all your data intact. That generally for me is the best way.
Does it work always?
I would say it's a 90% chance of success, which is pretty high. Unless there is something actually wrong with the system, in which case... I've had it before where I've done an upgrade on the system and you think, right, it's crashing now, what's going on? And it has nothing to do with the software. It's just literally where you've been so unlucky that it's been a coincidence that you've done the software at the same time as a piece of hardware started failing. I've proven that by doing a completely fresh install with Windows 11 or Windows 10. I think it's Windows 7 back then as well when I did it. And even with a fresh install, it crashed during the installation. So we knew at that point it's a hardware issue, not software, but it just seems that the problem occurred at the same time that the system was upgraded to, I think it was one of the Windows 7 updates or something along those. It might have been Windows 10. Can't remember, but it was a pain in the ass. William Bodie says, did just look, there is an update for Windows 10. Yeah, there's lots of updates. They're coming out pretty thick and fast at the moment. The last one for Windows 11, the 22H2 from October, was a bit buggy and causes scheduling issues with the latest 7000 series processors. So they've done another one, I think today or yesterday, which is the November, I think then. So it's update 11 22H2, which came out yesterday or today. Anyway. Matthew Day says, if you have a failing disk, a major update is going to give it a thrashing. Yeah, that's true. In actual fact, with mobile phones, that was always the thing. iOS, whatever it was. Oh, cheers, Patrick. Patrick says, believe it or not, it's 22 degrees Celsius and I'm doing a barbecue tonight. Mother... Damn it. 22 degrees. 22 degrees indoors isn't as nice as 22 degrees outdoors for some reason. Stuart says, Mike, how's the diet going? You're still avoiding the archery blocking, widow making crap. I'm still trying to, yes. I'm not doing as well as I did, but I'm definitely eating cleaner rather than as much junk.
Apart from the cinnamon rolls.
The Trojan's coming with 10 Aussie dollars. Thank you very much, the Trojan. Gotta go. Thanks for the stream, Mike and Kath. Congrats on that 80k. Bless you, sir. And thank you for all the work in the Discord when you're available. I know you're a very busy man, so thank you when you do jump in. It is appreciated. William Bodie says, Patch LaBelle, last week we had 25.2 degrees Celsius here in North Germany. Blimey. Yeah, I don't think we've had anything much over double figures. I think it's like 16, 17 degrees most of the week.
Double figures, Babs.
No, but like not into like decent double figures. There's double figures and there's double figures. Like double figures in the 20s is fine. Double figures in the 10s is shit. Don't like it. Scott says it's 6 degrees here. What is it? Oh, it's 10 degrees at the moment here.
Well, they said
So
it
it
was going
says.
to be a hot Halloween, but it wasn't.
Gemma Collins left shocked and embarrassed after bank accounts frozen. I love it how the news just pops up with all that kind of interesting horse shit. Ordinary Dude says, it's still warm enough here
Nice
in
colour.
Mississippi that we don't need jackets. Oh, jammy git. Have fun with the midterms next week, or this week, however you look at it, I suppose. David Undale says, Windows 11, not much different to Windows 10. I prefer Windows 11. I think it has enough kind of ease of use characteristics to make it a daily driver. I wouldn't, if you've got a Windows 10 system and it's running fine, I would say there's probably no real need to do it. But if you're doing a fresh install, you might as well go with Windows 11 because basically it's going to be around and it will be at some point where Windows 10 won't be supported. So kind of, if everyone else is using it, you might as well just jump on board and do it. But there isn't a great deal of difference, to be honest with you.
Nice to be individual, though.
It is nice to be individual if yeah, like
Follow the crowd.
Kath's on Windows 10 because she doesn't follow the crowd and she won't let me get near her PC. Anyway, she has too many tabs open. I'm not going through all that crap again.
I let you do something to it the other day.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, when it comes to hard drives failing on upgrades, it does happen. It's a genuine thing, and actually with SSDs, it's more and more likely. With the eMMC flash, which is in the iOS devices, so iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 were notoriously bad for getting very hot and actually causing damage. So because of where the chips were positioned, the audio chip would get super hot and they didn't use enough flux or solder or whatever to actually attach the chips to the board. So by performing an upgrade on the device from iOS 12 to 13 or whatever it was back then, would actually cause the audio to fail. So literally you'd have a working phone, you run the update, new iOS version, and because of the heat generated, especially if it's on charge whilst you're doing it, and normally it says like this update won't happen unless it's on charge, so people would leave it on charge, do the upgrade. Phone's probably in a case as well, so it's generating more and more heat. They'd do that, do the upgrade, go to use the phone, hello, 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 no sounding calls. Awesome for me, loads of content to be made, but for a lot of people with iOS devices, especially iPhone, I think it was the 6, 6S, 7, and 8, which were all affected because they all were made in a very similar way with the same chipset. Yeah, they all did it, and they still continue to do it to this day. And that video's made, well, I think it's best part of 1 million views. Very, very common thing. Matthew Day says, I had to handle a Windows 11 system. It really broke my muscle memory. I'm very comfortable with Windows 11 now. I like the centralized menu bar. I didn't think I was going to, but I do like that. I do like the fact that on the right hand side, the clock and all that, on the other side you've got your news and your widgets, which is quite handy. I do use them relatively regularly, to be honest with you. Ugly Bob, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yes, I think that is probably the way forward.
What, to stay on Windows 10?
Stay on Windows 10, don't upgrade it unless you have... That's what I said earlier. There's no point upgrade. If you're on a working Windows 10 system, there's absolutely no point whatsoever of upgrading. Well, I have to, don't I? Because I'm kind of not cool. I'm one of those people that is like a guinea pig. So when anything new comes out for computers, I have to try it to do the experimenting, so to work out what the deal is and to fix things.
Okay.
Right, let's end the poll, because that is at the end now. So, oh, where did that go? where did the poll go? I can't see. I think it was...
It's on now.
It was,
It's in the chat.
oh,
Can you not see it? So
no, it's not showing me.
it says high-end performance or mid-range cost savings. Mid-low, 76%. High-end all the way, 23.
All right.
168 votes.
Well, I can't see that on mine. It's blocked it for some reason. So anyway, you can see why we shouldn't all be going on high end. A quarter of you should. Those are the high rollers who like that stuff. Mike only moved to Windows 11 for research reasons. I kind of did, but I'm glad I did. I've not had the point yet where I thought I can't use this, I'm going back to Windows 10. I've not found that on any of my machines. My laptop's still on Windows 10, even though it should be on 11, but I do keep it on there just in case there's anything in Windows 10 which is specific, which I need to do for video. But yeah, otherwise that is pretty much it. Scott Tate, I tried 11, lasted 40 minutes, rolled back. Yeah. I suppose it's one of those things. William Bodie, oh, you sarky bugger. Windows 11 and out of sync. Yeah, that was OBS's fault, not Windows 11, I would argue. I should have rebooted. It's my fault.
No, if OBS was on Windows 10, it'd probably been alright.
If Windows 10, I'll try it. Next week I'll stream with Windows 10. I'll buy another SSD. I'll install a fresh Windows 10 and I'll try it and see what happens. Hopefully there won't be a upgrade of OBS like 10 minutes before I start.
Just don't use the update.
Yeah, I know. I knew when I saw it, it's like, I should ignore this, but I didn't. My fault entirely. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap things up for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Saturday evening, which is I haven't said it yet, the 5th of November. You obviously knew that because the fireworks at the beginning, which were bizarrely in sync, I think. Were they in sync? I'm going to have to go back and watch the fireworks and see if the bangs actually match up. Although it's probably not the best because sound and light travel at different speeds. Anyway, I digress. Thank you all for joining us tonight on the stream. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, smash the like button. If you are new here, hit subscribe and the chime notification and you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. That's been Kath. This has been Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we will catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching. And I still have to find the end stream button. Such a bad thing. All I can say is, bye!